Hey folks, Tom the Frugal Prepper. So I'm kind of doing an update on my son's Honda. This is a car we bought for, what was it, 200 bucks? Yeah. I put links to the videos where I kind of redid it. I had to put this air box in here. These 3 valve cover bolts were snapped off and I had to drill and tap those. It's got a new starter on it. It's got a new alternator on it. New alternator bracket. We had to put a gas tank in it. We had to put a rack and pinion in it. I had to put a blower motor in it. And I did front brakes on it. The rear brakes were okay. But it's doing good. It actually really hasn't even used a drop of oil. We'll check that again. But this oil's probably still nice and full. So it doesn't really have any leaks. Yeah, the oil's fine. Oil still looks pretty clean too. We don't need to change it yet. But we've been having a problem where it's not heating up very fast. And I think that problem, well, I did new battery terminals too. So I think that problem is the thermostat. So I got a new stamp thermostat, the Gasket. And we're going to go after this guy. This is a pretty simple job to do. We'll just get down here and get it done. Okay, so our thermostat's right over here, just below the distributor. We've got the one connector right here. We just have to squeeze this really hard, unplug it. Then we have a ground cable right here that we'll have to undo. And we have a 10mm bolt here and a 10mm bolt down underneath of that ground. So what we want to make sure is that these bolts are going to break free. I'm going to need a socket to get under that guy. Or a smaller wrench. We'll see. Yeah, we're going to need a smaller wrench that's not ratcheting. Let's see if we can use the open end on this guy. We'll break that loose. Yeah, it's gonna break loose. Okay. I don't normally like to use open ends on a bolt like this, but it worked out. So those ends, they can stretch and spread, and then you'll end up rounding off the bolt. It'd be nice if they designed this with enough clearance to get a socket on it, but man, it's gonna be kind of rough coming all the way out. Can't turn it with my fingers. Okay, I'm gonna go after the one that has the ground on it here next. I think I can get a socket on that guy. Let me grab my power ratchet. Okay, and that loosens up this ground connection right here, and we'll clean that off before we put it back on. And now there's one more bolt down underneath that ground connection down here. I'm going to use a deep to get to that. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe I'm gonna need a mid length. See if I got mid length in 10. Oh, of course that 10 mid length is missing. Alright, well. Oh shit. That's why you always keep an extra 10 millimeter around. Alright. Let's go in here. Get around this air hose. Go in here. Go down here. Negative. I think that bolt might be rounded off. This sucks. Yeah, that sucks.
Seems like every other bolt you find in here is rounded off.
Yeah, this has had a bunch of people raping it in the past. Yeah, that's pretty loose and wobbly. Let me get an extension and see if I can get it from farther back. Let's see what we can do. This is a 6-point. Getting on it straight is the thing. Okay, hang on, let me get a bendy socket. That's an 11. There's a 10. Okay. So I'm gonna go after it with my little universal socket here and see if I can get on it flat. Maybe. That feels like I'm locked on there pretty tight. I'm gonna go back behind here. There she comes. Alright, we're not putting that rounded off bolt back in there. We'll put a new one in. Let's get her on out. Holy crap. I just didn't think it'd be that hard to get this bolt out. There, I can turn it with my fingers now. There it is. Kind of rounded off there. But it's out. Now we just gotta take this top one out. And now it's time to spill some coolant. I got a pan shoved under there as far as I can, but I don't know if I'm gonna hit it. Here's our old thermostat. It's kind of warped. It looks like that rubber seal is good on it, but let's go see if it had a temperature stamped on it. It's pretty dirty. But we're just going to replace that with the new one. Now what we want to do is just make sure that this surface is clean and that the surface down in here where the gasket mates is clean. And we'll just wipe this out with the towel. And then we'll grab our whizzy wheel. Make sure you leave some in the comments about using this on aluminum. This looks pretty clean down here. It'll be fine. So now we just got to get our thermostat set up. So basically, here's your thermostat. Now this has a pin in it. This is a bleeder pin, so the air can get out when you fill it up with coolant. That needs to go towards the top. It needs to aim up. And then you have your gasket right here. And that old gasket didn't seem too terrible, but we're just going to put a new one in it to make sure we don't have any leaks. And this basically, your thermostat just kind of has to slide in this little groove here. Pretty simple. Oh, come on. You just have to work it. You just got to work it. Work it into the groove. There we go. Now she's got to turn a little bit because this notch needs to center up with that pin so it can let the air out. And then we just got to start putting her on. Okay, we got a rotator. There we go. Now she's on there. And so again, we're just going to put this in so the pen faces up when it's down here. There we go. Pen's facing up. Move these wires out the way and put her back on here. Alright. So now, I gotta get to my bolts. I feel like I got them in here. I don't, that's fine. We're gonna put a little bit of overseas on them. So rather than replace this bolt, I've got them out in the other car. I don't want to go chasing down bolts. I'm just going to put some Never-Seez on it. And give me a towel. Okay, and then I'm going to put the rounded off one kind of on the top. We want to make sure that's still in there, nice and straight. It is. That way it's at least easy to get to. And it's not that rounded off. I think that socket I was trying to get at first is pretty worn out. It's an old Duralast. I need to take it up and armate it. I dropped my new 10mm down in the bucket underneath. Okay, now we just gotta get this one in, all the way down here. Get it finger tight first. Okay, now I probably should have done this before, but I want to clean this grounding spot off just a little here. Ooh, there goes the air compressor. And we're going to clean this off too, this ground. Try not to take the skin off my fingers. Alright, so now I'm ready to put the smaller bolt back in for that ground. Put a little never sees on it too. Find the hole. Oh shit. I dropped it.
Oh shit. Okay, I'll drop that one too.
Alright, so while I was out there, I went ahead and grabbed a new bolt for the top of this. You might as well go ahead and replace that rounded off one, since I had to walk all the way out there. See which one was the right length. That one's a little short. This one's a little bit long. That's a little bit longer. This one's just about right. We're just gonna put that in there. Of course, this doesn't really have a flat spot on it, like the built-in shoulder, like that works like a washer, but it'll still work. There should still be enough never sees left in that hole. This isn't a captured bolt, it's open on the back, so if it's a little too long, it'll go all the way through and it'll be fine. Okay, now we're going to try to put the ground back on. I just got a short little bolt for that guy. Try this again. Try it again. There we go. Actually started. But you don't want to lock in there. Let me get this bottom thermostat bolt tightened up. Here first. Okay, grab my ratchet. Oh, crap. Come on, get on there. What a pain in the butt. Stupid little bolt. And now she's locked on there. There, she's tight. Okay. So now we just gotta tighten down this one for the ground. Maybe. I think I can get this better with the short socket. Let me get the power ratchet back in there. Where did I put my power ratchet? Wesley, go put shoes on. Walking around in the snow with no shoes. It's on there. Just want to make sure it ain't gonna come loose on us. Need to give it a final little oomph. Oh, really? Hang on, let me get a shorter ratchet. There, that's on there. This is on there. We'll just make sure this is good and tight. There we go. She's in. Now we just got to fill her up with coolant. Alright, so I got my funnel set up here. I got some coolant. Just gonna pour some of this in. And that's Dex. Going green.
What's the difference?
Dex is really for GMs. On this old motor, it's not going to make a difference to have a little Dex mixed in there. Really, most of your Hondas are supposed to take a special blue coolant, but I don't know if this one's old, but new enough for that. Alright, go ahead and start it up. Turn your heat on high. Now we're just going to let the bubbles come out of it here. And let it work its way around so it don't have any more bubbles. Make sure we don't have any air pockets in there. Yeah, like Hondas will get an air pocket in them. Yeah. And they won't idle right. Because they actually do all their idling off of the temperature control. That's how they set their idle. And you get an air pocket in there and it don't work right. But see, the coolant is also going down as it's bubbling, which is telling me that it's filling up all those air pockets in there. Once that thermostat opens, it'll go way down. I have to let it get hot and the thermostat opens and it starts circulating through the radiator. Yeah, and see what happens if you let these overheat, that head is aluminum and it'll warp and it'll crack. That's why you never want to let these things get real hot. And you gotta take the timing belt and everything off, you gotta take this exhaust manifold off, the intake off, pull the head up. Good job. And from what I can tell, I mean, it doesn't look like this head's ever been off again. At least not anytime recently. So that means all those bolts from the manifold are going to be rusty and breaking off. What you really want to do is let this warm completely up until you feel this hose get warm up here. Still some more air in there. But, and then you want to let the fan come on. That's how you know it's completely warmed up when that fan comes on. What it does is the thermostat keeps the coolant circulating around in the engine, right? And then once it hits 180 degrees, the thermostat starts to open up and it lets the coolant come out through this hose into the bottom of the radiator. And then that pulls the cool coolant from the radiator. And then once it still hits like 190 or whatever, then the computer turns the fan on to cool down the radiator. Looks like it's starting to pull it in pretty fast. Yeah. And these Hondas, they'll bubble like that and they'll make you think they have a blown head gasket and they don't. You just got air in them. That's what's nice about this funnel is you can just fill it up and let it bubble rather than trying to keep topping off the radiator or whatever. How do you feel about newer Hondas? They're good cars. Yeah. Honda does a good job making cars. I think Toyotas are probably a little better, but Honda does an okay job. Honda's automatic transmissions just aren't the greatest. Toyota, you won't have the transmission problem. She's warmed up. She's still blowing bubbles. And she's putting a little smoke out the exhaust, and it smells kind of sweet, like it's burning a little antifreeze. Alright, go ahead and shut it off, TJ.
That car didn't heat up at all either.
I was just sucking it down in there. Nope. What we're gonna do is run up to the AutoZone and get you some head gasket sealant and put in this guy.
Head gasket what?
Sealant. It's some stuff you can put in the radiator that'll help seal up the head gasket. I could do a test on it to see if those are exhaust gases, but I think they are. And a lot of times some of this bars leak head gasket sealant will seal that up for a while, get you by, not having to do a big expensive repair.
How much?
Alright, so I got my bars leak head gasket sealant. We're just going to put that in there in case that head gasket is leaking. And this is kind of my secret weapon for head gasket leaks. They make a $50 one too that I used in a Toyota Prius, and it seemed to fix it. But this is the slightly cheaper stuff. This is like 30 bucks a bottle. So we'll take this upper radiator hose loose. Let's bring some coolant out. Actually, this is the lower radiator hose. Okay, I think that drains enough out. Should be able to fit the head gasket sealant in there now. Oh, come on. Stupid clamps. There we go. Alright. Shake it up really good. And we just pour this in. We're going to need a funnel. And for a 4-cylinder engine, you're only supposed to use about half the bottle. Go ahead and start it up, TJ. coolant. A little bit in here too. Now you just gotta let her run for 10 or 15 minutes until she, you know, is full, and then you let her sit, and then it should seal. That's basically all you do with this stuff. Alright, I finally got the fan running on her. Just kick back off. No more bubbles coming out. See what the exhaust looks like, if it looks better. It's still just a tad misty, but it's pretty cold out there too, and it's hitting the thing. That sweet smell's gone from it though, and it's not as bad as it was. So now we'll shut her off and let her cool back down, and hopefully she'll seal on up. I don't know how to get the key out of this darn Honda. Darn Hondas! Oh, crap. Give me the key. Here, okay. I think you gotta hit the brake to take the key out. Alright.
Did you get the fan turned on?
Yep, fan turned on. It's all good. What'd you get, cat food?
Meatloaf.
Oh, okay.
Or whatever that is. It's pretty good. I haven't had good meat in a while.
Thought I was gonna have to pull a Rick on you and be like, Carl, you're not eating cat food. I don't care how starving you are. Carl.
Who's that?
The Walking Dead.
Oh.
When Carl starts eating dog food or cat food, and he takes it away from him and throws it, and like, you're not eating cat food. All right, I think we're set.
Put a little bit of bacon on there because I want some bacon too.
So this is what I like about these funnels too, is I can just take that off, boom. And then I can put the leftover coolant right back in my jug. Maybe. So that's good. Gonna check the overflow tank, see if it needs any. Nope, it's pretty full. What did I do with your old radiator cap? This one looks good. Don't need to replace that. All right. Should be all set. All right, folks. I'll talk to y'all later. It's Tom, your Frugal Prepper.